The government of India's spend contributes to the growth of the country and to the GDP. This year's union budget envisages a government expenditure of over 50 lakh crore rupees. This is an increase of 7.4% over the last year's spend. India's GDP last year at current prices stood at 331 lakh crore rupees, which means the government spending contributes to about 14 to 15% of India's GDP. In 25-26, the government spending is expected to be 14.2% of our GDP, out of which 4.3% is going to be the effective capital expenditure. In rupee terms, this means that over 15 lakh crore rupees will be spent on infrastructure development. But this massive amounts of spending by the Modi government, is it really resulting in infrastructure improvement? That remains the biggest question today. Stay with me as I take you through some very interesting data on this aspect. Hello and welcome to another episode on the Public Global. I'm Ajay Prakash. On 18th of February 2020, a foundation stone was laid for the Charlapalli Satellite Railway Complex in Hyderabad. The estimated cost of this project was 430 crores. On 6th of January this year, the station was inaugurated by none other than our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. As is so common with the BJP and our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, every small event is turned into a national achievement. Modi inaugurated this terminal virtually sitting in Delhi, and the local politicians did not miss this photo op. Then on May 3rd, 2025, just a few days ago, this is what happened, what you're seeing on your screen. The roof of this station collapsed during one of the very normal thunderstorms that keep happening in Hyderabad. It was not a very strong wind, maybe around 40 to 50 kilometers per hour, and yet the roof collapsed. Whether it's the bridges that keep collapsing in Bihar, or it's the potholes that surface immediately after the inauguration on our newly built expressways, or the Trans Harbour link in Mumbai, that sinks in. This has much to say about the manner in which we are developing infrastructure in our country, especially the Gati Shakti Vikas of Mr. Narendra Modi has many questions to be answered. Here is one photograph which shows some of our youngsters sitting on the floor, and it looks like they're taking some kind of an examination. About 30, 40 years ago, it was not so uncommon to see students sitting on the floor in a classroom or taking an exam while they were sitting on the floor. But I believe those things should have changed by now. Even in the rural areas, the infrastructure has become much better now that it really doesn't warrant now for our youngsters to be seated on the floor. Now, let me tell you something about this news story which has been published in Matrabhumi on the 3rd of May. What you're seeing is students who are taking an exam and they are seated on a runway. Yes, you heard it right. They are seated on the runway of Saharsa Airport in Bihar. In today's episode, I'm not going to talk about the status of the schools in our country or the examination systems, how they are conducted. I'm going to talk about the ghost infrastructure that Modi has created in the last 10 years in this country, with lavish amounts being spent on infrastructure, on roads, airports, ports. Just a review of where we stand today. Let's first talk about airports. In the last 10, 12 years, several airports have been constructed by the Modi government. and yet many of them don't see too much of traffic, or either they are closed. I bring to your attention this article written by Mihir Mishra for Bloomberg, where he says empty airports and half finished highways plague India after the boom. Dozens of India's big ticket infrastructure projects have underperformed, echoing China's problems of the past. In this article, Mihir says that when the Indian officials inaugurated a new airport in the small city of Hisar, the ambitions were grand. With planned capacity for a couple of million passengers, the local government touted its benefit as an alternative to the much busier terminal serving nearby New Delhi. But several years after the ribbon cutting ceremony, Hisar's airport is barely functional. The arrival and departure halls are mostly empty, and stray dogs lounge the runway. Though the airport hosts military jets now and then and sporadic planes for ferrying politicians, only a handful of subsidized commercial flights have lifted off from Hisar since 2021. Hisar is about 160 kilometers from Delhi. The road connectivity is rather poor. It takes more than 3 hours to cover this distance of 160 kilometers. The problem could have been solved by implementing a mass rapid transport system like the one being done between Delhi and Meerut, instead of investing huge amounts in a big airport. Current officials with the Airports Authority of India have privately complained about rising number of loss-making facilities in the country. In a report reviewed by Bloomberg News, the AAI raised the possibility that the government may need to offer viability gap funding to struggling airports for another 10 to 15 years, what was earlier supposed to be for 5 years. Smaller airports require at least 8 to 10 commercial flights a day to recover their operating costs, according to an estimate in this AI report. Half of airport authorities' 140 airports hosts less than 10 flights a day. Data analyzed by Bloomberg News shows. And yet, the Modi government doesn't stop bragging about itself, saying that it has doubled the number of airports in India from 74 in 2014 to 148 in 2023. Now, this statement is totally untrue. I have already done a fact check on this. Until last December, the airport count was 135. 22 were commissioned after 2014 and 113 existed before 2014. The list is given here of those 22 airports, and the ones marked in red, Kushinagar, Rupsi, Pakyong, and Hisar, all have seen nil traffic since their inception. And coming to the airports in Bihar, if you look at Wikipedia, most of them, apart from Gaya and Patna, remain closed except Darbhanga Airport. Begusarai, Bhagalpur, Munger, Muzaffarpur, Saharsa, and Raxaul. All of these airports stand closed today. Now, the problem is not just that we have spent huge amounts of money to create these airports, the passenger growth has also started to decline from this year onward. This data is from Airports Authority of India, and if you see the growth here for last year is down to only 6.12%. Growth in Indian aviation, you leave aside the corona period, was around 9 to 10%. So we are seeing a reduction in the number of people who are flying. I will now quickly run through the list of airports which are seeing a decline in passenger traffic. Starting with international, Goa has seen a reduction of 43%, Srinagar 42%, Vijayawada 21%, and Nagpur 5%. It could be that international flights to these airports have been stopped. On the domestic side, Kushinagar 0, Kannur -8, Agra -8, Shillong -22, Bareilly -5, Kadapa -19, Jaisalmer -10, Jorhat -22, Gulbarga -43, Mysore -25, Porbandar -72, Pondicherry or Puducherry -24. Shravasti is closed. Utkela has low traffic, and these Roopsi, Tezpur, Tezu, Bidar, Karnool, and Sindhudar, all of them, I think, are not operating any passenger traffic these days. Now, before I get into the next section, a request to all our viewers that if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please do so. And if you like our programs, share this video with them. Thank you very much. Now, if you believe that Nitin Gadkari has been doing a great job in the Ministry of Transport, Highways and Roads, well, I think it's time you should start looking at some press reports. These discussions will never happen on TV, and the Godi media is obviously will never tell you, and only the good things will keep coming from the Bhakt Brigade. For Nitin Gadkari, the Delhi Mumbai Expressway remains his flagship project. Now, this work actually started way back in 2019 March. That's when the Prime Minister laid the foundation stone of this expressway. And right now, the situation is that over 1100 kilometer of construction has been completed. The Delhi Mumbai Expressway is one of the biggest road projects in the country and is moving at a good pace. According to the Ministry of Road Transport, 1156 kilometer of the total 1386 has been completed. Out of this, 756 kilometer road is already open for public use. The construction of highways and expressway picked up during the 2021 pandemic years. But after that, there has been a slowdown due to a combination of factors, including a decline in new project awards, government restrictions on new approvals under the Bharatmala program because of the paucity of funds, and delays caused by the Model Code of Conduct during election, the monsoon season, additionally, the high debt levels of the NHAI, and delays in executing the hybrid annuity model. Now, I'll tell you a little bit more about this HAM model. An aggregate length of over 2,200 kilometers of road so far have been awarded under the hybrid annuity model by the NHAI. The hybrid annuity model is a mixture of two things: a fully funded government project and a BOT, that is a build, operate, and transfer, which is typically done by a private contractor. Now, in this model, both have been mixed together. That is, the government will give a part of the funding, and the balance has to be brought in as a BOT by a private operator who will build the highway, operate it for a certain number of years, and then transfer it back to the government. Now, this is proving to be a cumbersome method and is adding to the delays of new projects. The NHAI and the Ministry of Transport and Mr. Nitin Gadkari himself, well, they might not agree, but there is news that contractors are not getting their payments on time. It doesn't appear to be a large scale problem, but then whenever it happens, this news spreads pretty fast. And then the contractors are going in for arbitration. Now, the arbitration cases have increased dramatically after 2022, and now NHAI is looking to reduce the time taken by arbitration by roping in more retired judges. In Punjab, there appears to be some political bickering going on between the central government and the state government. The NHAI says that the Punjab government is obstructing project, land acquisition is being delayed, and they are not paying for land acquisition on time. So Nitin Gadkari had threatened that it may foreclose stuck road projects within Punjab. In early August, there was news that some contractors of NHAI were threatened and beaten up by some people within the state of Punjab. And Gadkari had then warned the Punjab government to improve law and order situation or lose 8 projects which were running through the state. Bhagwant Mann had hit back saying that everything is fine in Punjab. It's because Nitin Gadkari is not paying the contractors on time, and that's why there was this law and order problem. Yet the fact remains that the national highway construction has slowed down in the last 3 4 years. National highway construction slowed down in the first 9 months. The total highways built were around 5,800 kilometers, which was well short of the target of 6,500 kilometers. And last year, in the same period, we had done 6,200 kilometers. Now, the fear is that if Nitin Gadkari doesn't act fast enough, we might land up in the situation similar to 2012 or 2013, when the payments had become such a big issue to the contractors that the works had come to a standstill. What I'm not touching upon here today is the huge debt burden of the NHAI and the pre closure of loan, which is leading to a high degree of stress on the budgetary allocations for the NHAI. So, yes, there is a shortage of funds in the offing because a bulk of the money is going as interest payment. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again next week.